According to the Office of the Surgeon General, America is facing an epidemic of loneliness that is having extensive negative side effects on us as individuals and as a society. There is a staggering list of health impacts due to loneliness and isolation, according to reports and studies from a wide swath of disciplines, including sociology, psychology, public health, economics, politics, gender studies, and even leisure studies. In the Surgeon General's 2023 advisory report, Our Epidemic of Loneliness and Isolation, he highlights some of the increased risks that have all been echoed in other studies. Risks like stroke, cardiovascular disease, dementia, depression, anxiety, obesity, premature death, approximately a 30% increased risk of mortality, respiratory illness, and susceptibility to viruses. During the last half century in particular, communal life activities throughout our society have seen a steady decline, and loneliness has been steadily growing among our population. With health risks like these, we have no choice but to take this problem seriously. How do we approach solutions to a problem as complex as an epidemic of loneliness? Researching loneliness from so many different disciplines has provided a large amount of information, but as often happens, this information has remained siloed among the different disciplinary perspectives. Much of the research has focused on causes related to individuals, such as unemployment, poor physical and mental health, or perceived poverty or discrimination. However, interventions focused on individuals have had a low evidence threshold of usefulness, with some statistical success using social cognitive training, meditation or mindfulness, and social support. Some sociocultural research has noted the impact of poverty on loneliness, while feminist and political disciplines have shown the impact of class division. These and other disciplines like them that highlight the impact of social structures like our economy, family structure, and work-life balance, or our social infrastructure itself, with few places for interaction that are equally free and accessible to everyone, these have not received as much attention. In order to create a world where the influence of loneliness and isolation on society is mitigated, useful insights must be gathered from these different disciplines and combined to create new interventions that can be truly effective in reducing their negative impacts. Realizing that we experience loneliness individually, but it is directly related to our social structures and the infrastructure of our society rather than a personal failure or failure of our communities, will allow us to create more successful interventions to address it. But by framing loneliness as a struggle of individuals within a community, the influences of the societal structures that play a role in the problem are invisible. Sociocultural and leisure studies researchers have noted the loss of what are considered third places over the last few decades. These are spaces where people gather together outside of work or home, places where the focus is simply socializing, with few stressors or responsibilities, where people are equals beyond the power dynamics of work environments, where equality and connection happen naturally. Third places that are equally available to everyone are now few and far between. Almost everywhere we gather requires some form of monetary expense. Coffee houses, gyms, even places like churches request donations from attendees. This effectively enforces a kind of paywall for human interaction within most of our remaining third places. In considering the expense of third-place interactions, we shouldn't forget the impact of the cost of time in our ability to participate as well. There are still only 24 hours in a day, though now many people need to work more than one job or very long hours at a single one in order to pay the bills and keep food on the table. Parents work, plus take their children to after-school lessons and events. The idea of spending meaningful time with others to combat the impact of loneliness is a good one, but we have to eat, sleep, and run our home lives as well. We must create a reality where everyone somehow has equal access to the health benefits of third-place interactions. This is a definite challenge for a country that has yet to manage to provide healthcare access to everyone, no matter their socioeconomic status, but it would be a step in the right direction. From an interdisciplinary perspective, it is obvious that socioeconomics and social structures play a large part in the unequal risks and dangers of loneliness and isolation, since they have been observed as factors by multiple disciplines. Sadly, our current social infrastructure basically has two remaining public spaces that are equally accessible to everyone, and where everyone is equally welcome, regardless of their background. These are our public parks, which may have varied levels of safety and practical accessibility depending on where they are located, and our public libraries, which thankfully have expanded how they serve the public alongside the growth of information mediums in the 21st century. Libraries already have a culture that uniquely values diversity, and they now offer community rooms along with a wide range of interactive spaces where diverse groups of people can gather together for classes and other activities that foster real social connection. Libraries are naturally perfect third places. I would like to propose a library program specifically created to foster social connections between people from different backgrounds in true third-place fashion. It would need to take advantage of insights from sociology, communications, and other disciplines to create an environment conducive to gatherings where everyone is welcome. Building this Creative Commons community learning and discovery program would allow for creating connections in a place of safety and inclusion without the paywall of other venues. Each attendee would be encouraged to participate equally and grow to feel that they have something to contribute regardless of their background. Real connections would be promoted as people spent time learning and sharing together. As a group, they would learn to appreciate cultural diversity from experts brought in to share their knowledge. One gathering might be to learn about a cultural craft, another could be an ethnic cooking lesson. This kind of program that broadens perspectives and encourages learning about others is easily built within the current structure of our public libraries, and could have reverberations throughout a local community with regular meetings. Of course, in order for a connection fostering program within the third place of a library to be successful, the library itself must be open during the hours that people have free time. This is something to take into consideration, as many libraries have limited hours due to a lack of funding. Still, even without funding increases, simply changing the hours the library is open to provide access outside of normal work hours would be able to create significant opportunities for programs that provide social connections to be successful. Through combining insights from multiple disciplinary fields and embracing concepts like third places, we can change the trajectory of our society's epidemic of loneliness and create a more connected future. Loneliness and isolation is a complex problem requiring an interdisciplinary response. Not only do we need to be connected on a social level to combat it, but on an informational level across disciplinary lines as well. As our Surgeon General has said, a culture of connection is vital to creating the changes needed in society. The epidemic of loneliness is real. Its solution will require us to work together for the true common good, healthy, strong, and united.